hit like and subscribe. You're watching the Marc Lamont Hill official YouTube channel.
Peace, family. This is your brother, Marc Lamont Hill. Welcome to Night School. Every night here on the Marc Lamont Hill official YouTube channel, we hold Night School, where we break down the most controversial topics, the most interesting subjects, the most engaged debates going on in the world today. And tonight is no different. I'm so happy to see y'all. I am exhausted, as you can imagine. I'm sure my face shows it, but I had absolutely no intention of leaving y'all hanging. Tonight was one of those extra long days. Yeah, first of all, when you get back into a healthy lifestyle, food, exercise, all this stuff, man, you feel better. But it takes a minute to get adjusted, man. I did a super intense workout yesterday. I didn't think nothing of it. But when you hit your 40s, it's not just that day. It don't even be the next day. Like tomorrow, I'm gonna be hurting. The next day, I'll be hurting. So it was a lot. And I woke up today feeling pretty good though. Then I recorded a Joe Budden podcast all day. So I'm out the door dumb early. I had a couple tapings. Then I had to drive to Philadelphia, where I sat down with my dear brother, Kiese Layman, to talk about his new wonderful new book. It's a children's book. And I don't know if you all are familiar with Kiese Layman, but he's my favorite living writer. So if you haven't read Heavy or Long Division or How to Slowly Kill Yourself and Others in America, do it. But the new children's book is called City Summer, Country Summer. And it's a beautiful children's book. And we got to talk about that. We got to talk about writing. We got to talk about all of that stuff. So it was super dope, but I had to drive a couple hours to Philadelphia to go sit with him at Uncle Bobby's, and then drive back up here tonight. The event was at 7, and as soon as it was over, I drove right back up top to come be here with y'all. So it's been a wonderful day of talking and interviewing and debating and laughing and feeling all the feels. And now I'm back here to kick it with my people, y'all who I love dearly. So just thank y'all. Thank y'all for the support. Thank y'all for the generosity and the forbearance. It's all very much appreciated. We're going to take some questions too. Drop me in questions in the super chat and the super sticker, in the regular comment. Well, wherever you want to do it, please make sure you do. In the meantime, while we're here getting started, we're about to get started with today's stories. Drop in your name, drop in your city, and drop in your state, or maybe even your country. Let us know where you are. After all, we are a global classroom. And I want y'all to start to know each other and see the depth and the breadth of our community. And as always, I tell y'all, make sure you keep your comments going in the comment well. You don't have to agree with me. Just keep the conversation lively, but keep it respectful. And we'll and we'll do that. We'll engage you. We want the comments to feel just like that. What else? I'm wearing Employee of the Month. Shout out to the JBTV community, the Joe Budden Podcast community. They named me Potter of the Month, which was a huge honor. I take all that stuff serious. And because I was named Potter of the Month, I came to work stunting, my Employee of the Month shirt on, talking shit a little bit, laughing a little bit. So make sure you check out the new episode. It comes out tomorrow, 8 a.m. So just a few hours here on the East Coast. Absolutely, but the Employee of the Month at MLH TV ain't me. It ain't never me. It ain't never me. It ain't never ever me. I appreciate y'all so much. Thank you for the love, Jamila. Let's get started. I know there's a lot of stories that y'all want to talk about. We're not going to cover all of them tonight. We're going to cover everything. We're going to cover everything we said we were going to cover. We're going to start, of course, with the biggest story of the night, of the day. And this one snuck up on me because, like I said, I've been recording all day and traveling all day. So, of Cory Booker. Let's talk about it. Senator Cory Booker just made history, holding the Senate floor for a record 23 hours in a fiery rebuke of Donald Trump and the GOP's agenda, from healthcare cuts to Elon Musk's shady government takeover. Cory Booker didn't hold back. Question is, what does it mean? Is this political theater, or is this an actual fight, however imperfect, for the people? On the Senate floor, Cory Booker called out Republicans for pushing dangerous policies that could absolutely devastate working class Americans, especially Black and brown communities. He invoked John McCain's legendary healthcare vote, warning that Trump and his allies are coming for Medicaid and more. He gave this marathon speech that he delivered without food, without rest, without a bathroom break. And he was delivering a fairly clear message. Let me be clear. This wasn't a filibuster. This was just a message that these are, quote, not normal times in America. That's a message that a lot of people need to hear, that people need to be reminded of. You know, he decided over this 2-day period to really break down what he considers to be the significant harms that President Trump has presented to the American people. Just for context, if you want to nerd out on this, the record that he set today, not that long ago, was 25 hours and 5 minutes. Now, before that, the record was 24 hours and 18 minutes. That was 1957. You want to know who the person was? Strom Thurmond. And guess what Strom Thurmond was rebuking at the time? Homeboy was against the Civil Rights Act. So this is definitely a different kind of energy, I'll just say. Anyway, nothing got done today. No legislative business. No advancement of any congressional labor went on. It's also important to note that this wasn't a pushback against a specific bill. This wasn't one of those moments where Cory Booker was trying to block a bill or rebuke a bill or push back against the bill or garner support for or against the bill. That wasn't it. He used this as an opportunity to speak out against the Trump agenda. And it's so interesting to me that so many of you all are asking me what I think about it. It makes me think, and I ain't trying to, subject y'all to any psychological analysis, no undue psychological analysis. But I will say, it seems like some of y'all are afraid to say what y'all think about this. That some of y'all are like, this look kind of whack to me, but I don't want to say it. Or y'all like, yo, this looks pretty awesome, and I don't want to say it because I'm scared I'm wrong. Like, there's something to it, because y'all don't usually ask me this fervently and this consistently what I think about it. But I'm going to tell you what I think about it. First, Cory Booker has a history, and I would argue a knack for spectacle, for making a spectacle. This is the guy that, when he was mayor of Newark, would, sleeping in the housing projects, and, he just had a way to draw attention, to get eyeballs on him, to get the world to pay attention to him. And that's not a criticism. It's not a dig. It's not a slight. Political activism requires a spectacle. Political organizing requires a spectacle. Political strategies and tactics across the board require some level of dramatization. Because right now, as we see, the whole world is, or at least the whole country, is talking about Cory Booker's actions, which then gets us to talk about Donald Trump's administration. So I'm not surprised that Cory Booker did this. This is kind of what he does. And I'm not against the spectacle. The spectacle is important. It's always important to have people draw attention to a problem, to, as Dr. King said, dramatize a situation. I'm with that. Question is, what are we dramatizing? What are we not? It is mind-boggling to me that someone could spend 25 hours on the floor criticizing Trump in Trump's administration without speaking about the genocide in any substantive way. That's just me. There's many issues on the table. If you say he was just focusing on domestic policy issues, maybe. But Cory Booker is an art Zionist. Cory Booker is super pro-Israel, and so it's not a coincidence that that of all the atrocities, all the awfulness that he thinks about Trump, somehow that didn't make the cut. Just want to point that out. But beyond that, Cory Booker spoke to some major issues that affect corporate America, that affect Wall Street, that affect Main Street, that affect the people in the projects, that affect the people in the C-suites. He went across the board to talk about the relationship between those things. I'm not saying he was giving shout outs or showing love to the 1%. I'm saying he was talking about the relationship between these policies that benefit the 1% and the realities on the ground. I don't see anything wrong with that. I'm glad that he drew like the policies. Cory Booker, I wish were to the left of where he is. I wish Cory Booker were actually having a critique of capitalism. I wish Cory Booker wanted to change fundamentally the way this world, or at least this country, operates as. But he wasn't. But he's still saying, look, y'all, there's a fire. Look, y'all, we got a serious fundamental problem in this country that can't be fixed when Donald Trump is president. In fact, it has been created or at least exacerbated because Donald Trump is president. I'm with all of that. And if it gets people paying attention, if it gets people talking, then it was not in vain. But let's be clear. These spectacles are not the work. They are an entry point into the work. Yes, call out Elon Musk. Yes, talk about the healthcare cuts. Yes, talk about the job loss. Talk about all of that. But none of it's going to amount to a hill of beans, as the kids say in the streets, if we don't do some real organizing work elsewhere. If we don't do real political education elsewhere. Because while he talked for 25 hours, people weren't listening for 25 hours. This was the spectacle. Just like when Dr. King stood on that Pettus Bridge, that was the spectacle. That was not the work. I mean, it's part of the work, but that's not the totality of the work. Cory Booker drew attention, but how are we going to organize? How are we going to teach? How are we going to pull? And how are we on the left, the real left, going to say, look, Cory Booker took us here, but there's more to go. There's more of a critique. There's a more substantive analysis here. Because if we don't have a critique of the state, if we don't have a critique of capitalism, if we don't have a critique of these mechanisms that sort of shape how the world operates, then all we're going to do is wait for another liberal messiah. We're going to wait for the next Gavin Newsom or the next Andrew Cuomo or the next Tim Walz or the next what's his name, Josh Shapiro. We're just going to be waiting for the next Democratic leader to come and take us into the same ridiculous hellhole. We need more than that. I don't fundamentally, just to tie this thing up, I also don't fundamentally trust Cory Booker. Cory Booker, like I said, has a knack for the spectacle. And while there's value to the spectacle, we also can't separate that. We can't disconnect that from self-interest. We can't disconnect that from careerism. We can't separate this from the fact that he wants to be the next vice president. And in the same way that he put on that public spectacle in Newark so that he would have enough eyeballs to be the senator from New Jersey, now them eyeballs are going back and he's generating something so that in 2 years, we're saying, oh, wait a minute, maybe Cory Booker should be the nominee for president. Maybe he's the next guy. Maybe he's got the stuff. If he doesn't, maybe he'll be Gavin Newsom's VP. Maybe he'll be Bernie or AOC or whoever the hell is next up. You know, Tim Walz, Josh Beer, whoever. He'll be their VP. This feels like just a play for a longer play. I don't trust Cory Booker. Cory Booker has not given us reason to trust Cory Booker. And I don't dislike Cory Booker. Interpersonally, he's great. But it's, you don't meet too many politicians that play the long game. And who have a very clear career path. You don't meet many who have more of that than him. That's all I'm gonna say. Anyway, so shout out to Cory Booker, I guess, for this political victory. Set a record. I hear Chuck Schumer saying, "We're so proud of you." When Chuck Schumer says he's so proud of you, you're probably doing something wrong. And again, I can't let Cory Booker off the hook for his it's awful policies from neoliberal corporate America kissing up policies to the low-down genocidal Zionist invasion of Gaza support kind of policies. I can't rock with any of that when it comes to Cory Booker. But anyway, let's move on to another story. Elon Musk just lost big in Wisconsin. He poured millions into this state Supreme Court race, which we talked about yesterday, trying to tip the scales for a conservative judge backed by Trump. But the voters, because this is still a democracy, no matter what they say, the voters weren't having it. So Susan Crawford won, keeping the court's liberal majority intact. Now, this wasn't just any race. It was the most expensive state Supreme Court election in history. Over $100 million were spent in this election. And the stakes, they were high. We talk about abortion rights, union rights, maybe even redistricting, things that would actually not just shake up Wisconsin, but would also shake up the entire Congress. And Elon Musk wasn't exactly a finesse player here. He wasn't being subtle. He threw $20 million behind Brad Schimmel. He handed out cash at rallies. I'm not joking, yo. It was like, anyway. He even offered money to people who signed petitions against the so-called activist judges. But in the end, all the money in the world didn't create a victory. The billionaire money lost. So what does that mean? What does that mean for Wisconsin? What does it mean for the U.S.? Well, I'll tell you one thing. It means the fight ain't over. Rich people don't give up. And rich people are well-resourced in ways that we can't even imagine. So I promise you this fight ain't over. But you're also going to see other states, new fights emerge in other parts of the United States, because these battleground states, these purple states, whatever you want to call them, they're not the spaces that sway the electoral college or the presidential future. They also sway so many cultural issues, so many political issues, so many ethical issues that we wrestle with every single day in our state. So yes, let's keep Wisconsin in our eye line, but also let's put enough caps in place. Let's put enough restrictions in place so that one person like Elon Musk can't just roll up on the scene and buy the whole damn election, because that itself is crazy. All right, y'all, we're gonna take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Hit like and subscribe. You're watching the Marc Lamont Hill official YouTube channel.
All right, y'all, just had to take a quick break to make sure we were all set. Yo, we're going to get the music back, y'all. I understand. We're going to take these breaks. We're going to make sure we get the music. Remember we used to have a dance break music? Remember we used to have a little interludes and stuff, man? I know some of y'all like that and some of y'all missed that. All right. Anyway, let's move on to another story, because this is one of them stories that a lot of y'all love to talk about. Luigi Manion, to say his name properly. Luigi Manion could be put to death for gunning down United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. But if the court of public opinion has anything to say about it, it won't happen, because half of America is not mad at him. Trump and Attorney General Pam Bondi are coming down hard, calling this a, quote, political assassination. And they, of course, are pulling for the federal death penalty. But out here in these streets, people seeing something different. Mangione's defense fund is climbing past $700,000. I'm gonna say that again. His defense fund is climbing past $700,000. College students are calling the killing acceptable, and even right-wing voices are admitting that America's healthcare system is a death sentence in and of itself. So even when you get to folks like Joe Rogan, who helped tilt the election toward Trump, without a doubt, he called private healthcare a dirty, dirty business. Then you got people like Bill Burr, who's been yelling "Free Luigi" every chance he gets. He's, of course, the comedian. Check out his new special; it's hilarious. So the question is Trump reading the room wrong, or is this about making an example out of a man who did what millions of Americans wish they could? Fight for Mangione life is just beginning. All right. So first, let's be honest, y'all. The support that Luigi Manion has isn't because America suddenly is tired of corporate dictators and oligarchy and all that stuff. It's because they're drawn to him. People find him attractive. And so he's become this kind of weird mix of politics and pop culture in terms of how people are consuming him and his story. Second, I don't believe in the death penalty. So I'm never going to advocate the death penalty being used for anybody. But how can I put this so that I don't sound crazy? I'll just say this. This was a political assassination. And if I did believe in the death penalty, this would be a story that, could be compelling to some. But here's why it's not to me. I always say I don't support the death penalty because this country does not have the moral authority to kill its citizens, given our wicked history. 2, it doesn't actually dissuade or deter violence. And 3, we get it wrong way too much. So, with Luigi, you might say, well, we know who did it. We know it's not a dispute about who did it. Well, I don't know about that. There are some disputes. There are some conspiracy theories, all kinds of stuff. I don't believe that he's being falsely accused or anything like that. But what I am going to say is crazier things have happened in this country. I don't think pursuing a death penalty is wise for that reason. And in general, I just don't think we should be executing people. So for me, that's the biggest reason why I don't support the death penalty. But you're going to see Trump come out guns a-blazing, one, because he actually supports the death penalty. Shit, he wanted to kill the Central Park, or the group that was formerly known as Central Park 5, now known as Exonerated 5. He don't care. Donald Trump don't care who lives or dies in that way. I'm glad to see people pushing against the death penalty, but again, it seems like they're doing it because of who Luigi is, not because of any kind of principle against the death penalty. But I want y'all to use that same principle, that same energy to say, look, in the same way we don't want Luigi's pretty face harmed by the death dealers, no one should be. And I think as anti-death penalty advocates, it's important for us to be as vocal in the moments where we don't like the victim, or where we disagree with the victim, or we think the victim's, whatever we think. We got to fight for them too. That's why the Dylan Roof thing is so interesting to me, right? When Dylan Roof came and shot all those people and I opposed the death penalty, it wasn't because I give a damn about Dylan Roof. I think Dylan Roof is human garbage. And if they had killed him immediately, I would have lost an ounce of sleep. But I can't advocate it as a public policy decision because it's wrong. And I'm just saying, let's not just fight for for Luigi not to be executed because we like Luigi. Let's fight against the death penalty for Luigi because it's the wrong thing to do. It's unethical, it's immoral, and it's irreversible. That's all I'm saying. All right, y'all. One last story before we go. Your boy Diddy is back. The Diddler is back. Another day, another bombshell against Diddy. A Florida man is now accusing the hip-hop mogul of drugging, humiliating, and assaulting him at a 2015 Miami party. One where he claims Beyonce, Jay-Z, LeBron James, and Gloria Estefan saw him in a drugged-up haze. The lawsuit paints a disturbing picture, alleging that Diddy's goons strapped a sex device to his face, forced him to wear a leather mask, and paraded him around like a sick spectacle. The accuser says he overheard Beyonce demanding answers and LeBron warning, y'all better do something about that. But here's where things get murky. LeBron's reps say he was nowhere near Miami that month. Jay-Z's team says he was in New York, and the Estefans call it a flat-out lie. Meanwhile, Diddy's camp says it's just another cash grab, calling the claims insane. So what is this? Is this another nail in Diddy's coffin, or is it a desperate story that falls apart on impact? I don't know the answer to that. I think we should take the voices of accusers seriously. We should listen to them. We should respect their voice. But we also got to recognize that in this particular case, this unique case of Diddy, this isn't one or two accusations coming forward. This is hundreds of them. So I'm saying that to say that, yeah, some accusations are going to come through and some of them are going to be crazy. Some of them are going to be completely disproven, like the ones against Jay-Z a couple weeks ago. This could be another one of those. This could absolutely be a frivolous lawsuit. And I think Diddy's strategy is to point out all the frivolity, to point out all the bad lawsuits so that it looks like he's just being framed and attacked, and therefore we can't trust anything. It's almost like he's trying to create a reasonable doubt. His lawyer is through the media. And again, I don't know. I'm skeptical of the claims that Beyonce, LeBron, Jay-Z, and all these people were all there because they seem to have evidence proving they weren't there when it happened, similar to what we saw with the Jay-Z Diddy accusations a few months ago. But regardless of what you think of this particular accusation, we have to take the voices and the narratives and the opinions of the people who were involved in this directly quite seriously. So, you know, let's not oversimplify this, whether you believe the accuser or not. It has to get more nuanced and more complicated than that. But again, not for Diddy. Diddy's strategy is to put as much murkiness in every accusation so that by the time the jury is selected, they've already decided in the court of public opinion that people be lying. Maybe not everybody, but enough of them that he has reasonable doubt. So I think that that's what this is. This is not a nail in Diddy's coffin. If anything, I think this is going to be one of those situations where either the public is so skeptical of the claims that they don't trust the witnesses against Diddy, or the sheer volume will make people say, and I saw this in other cases, where just the person was accused of so many things, people said, well, no one could have that much free time. Maybe this is bullshit just because it is. Again, Diddy ain't innocent. And I don't want to make any statement that makes it seem as if I'm inclined to protect or defend Diddy. I think he's guilty of lots of stuff. And we need to pay attention to every accusation made. That's all I'm going to say about that. Anyway, I appreciate y'all, family. I love y'all, family. Thank you for watching the show. I want to thank Jeremiah Muhammad for his generous donation. I want to thank Nael Akile for the same, and of course Jazz LB, Dallas's finest. Thank you. You have no idea how much you all are appreciated. Isaac MC donated a membership. Make sure one of y'all grabs it. That's pretty fresh. Anyway, y'all are loved. Y'all are valued. Y'all appreciate it. Have a good night, and I'll see you tomorrow. But let me just say one thing. Before you go, hit the like button. Before you go, hit the subscribe button. And if you're so inclined, hit the join button. It is April 1st. That means that we have an opportunity to start the month off strong. So please, if you were intending to do a membership, to join as a member, do it today. If you just want to hit the like and subscribe button, do it right now before you forget, because these are all the things that help support us and get our message out even better. But finally, if you wanted to make a donation but don't want to make a kind of let's just say, feel free to do what you like, as the old school used to say. Remember that? Do what you like. Shock G, Digital Underground. Anyway, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. If you're so inclined, hit the join button. We really appreciate it. But if you can't do any of those things, or you don't want to make the monthly commitment, consider making a one-time payment to the channel. Just go to Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, or Zelle. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, or Zelle. Drop something in on one of those. I don't care if it's $1. I promise you that dollar will be so appreciated. If it's $5 or $10 or $1 million, it's just as appreciated. Please do what you can. No pressure, but just understand no amount is too small, no amount is too big. You are loved and appreciated, family. Thank y'all for joining me tonight on Night School, and I will see you again soon. Peace.